Hello and welcome back to the first pre-season test of 2023. It's day 2 here at the Sepang International Circuit, and unfortunately we have to report that we had a little bit of a slow start this morning. My name is Jack Gorst, and alongside me is Simon Crayfar, and we'll explain to you why we had a little bit of a slow start this morning. Unfortunately, a little bit of rain overnight meant that, well, the track was a bit greasy really, wasn't it? It wasn't wet this morning, it was just a bit sketchy, shall we say, so they took a while going out.
Yeah, I think the problem was it wasn't wet and it wasn't dry, so it was good for nothing. So the guys literally did nothing. Cut an exit from probably 4 or 5, and then they all parked it, waited for it to dry out completely, which it did only, I would say, an hour and a half ago. They all started heading out. An hour ago, they were all out there, and I think good enough conditions where they can test, compare.
Well, I mean, at the minute, I believe, from last time I checked anyway, just before 2 o'clock local time, Oliveira was at the top of the times, were a 1:58.8, and that was only 4 tenths or so off what Bezzecchi did yesterday, and a 58.8 is pushing on around here. So certainly track is in good condition now, but we have to say, there is rain predicted for this afternoon.
Well, it said 2 o'clock, and there is some dark clouds hanging about, so I wouldn't be surprised if they ditch lunch hour, because the morning was pretty much lost, and march on through lunch hour and into the afternoon until it is stopped. Hopefully it isn't.
Yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed that we don't have any more kind of hindrances to the testing programs. Of course, we know they've got a lot of items to try and not so much time to try them in. So, onto the stuff that they have actually been testing. Let's talk about KTM and GasGas first, because we saw quite an interesting little piece where it seems as though they've added some downwash ducts onto the lower ground effect side fairings. Usually it's one or the other, but now it's a combination of both.
I think it's the first machine I've seen with everything all at once, the wide Aprilia style belly pan with the duct, as well as all the wings on the side and the wings on the top. So KTM having a big effort there. What I've noticed at KTM is yesterday it was Brad Binder clearly trying that engine that made a different sound, it's a different sounding engine. So that Brad focused on that yesterday, you could tell, and then we saw this morning when Jack went out to have a look at the track to see if it was dry. I noticed, hey, that sounds different. Jack now has that different sounding engine, and Brad is focusing on the aero.
Yes.
He's going through all the aero parts, which you've seen as well. And Brad has the conventional sounding KTM, trying all those aero parts on. Jack on the other side garage, I imagine, going through what Brad did yesterday, checking that engine with all different setups. And then we look down at Paul Spargaro, and he's trying the aero as well. So today it's Brad and Paul working on that new aero.
Yeah, it seems pretty much all of them over at KTM and GasGas are getting, as well, rightly pointed out, and they said that GasGas bikes would receive all those new parts at the same time, and it does appear to be happening. So that is
Paul's experience, so they'll want his feedback.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Paul's had numerous years here in MotoGP, and actually, obviously, jumping off the Honda now onto the GasGas, we'll chat a little bit about Honda, because once again, Mark has that experimental bike in his garage. I don't think he's been out on it yet this morning, but I wasn't down there all day. Or has he been out?
Well, you and I left, I saw in from Mia's side of the garage that they had a cover around it, preparing it with tyre warmers. He was about to head out on that new bike, so we've missed it, but he was about to head out on it.
It was interesting yesterday in Mark's debrief. It was difficult to really get a good picture of whether he was satisfied or not.
I agree.
We really expected, because there's some big changes to that Honda, that they come here and there was like a little bit of a spark and a kind of, we're going now. But that doesn't appear to have happened. I
completely agree with what you said. It was very hard to... I think Mark did a great job of not telling us what was going on, and he didn't mislead us, but he didn't tell us. And reading between the lines, for me, I think they're in the same spot. That's listening carefully to Mark's debrief. I believe they're in the same spot as they were, which is not good news. I don't think they've made a big step forward yet. He said that he's not going to tell us where they're at until the last day of testing is finished at Portimao. Really?
Late.
Yeah, really. I'd like to repeat that I feel like Mark is ready. You've seen the video, I really feel he's ready to win, you know. And I'm not talking just about races.
Yeah.
It's all up to Honda if they can give him something. I mean, he's going to win some,
He is.
whether the bike is up to scratch or not. But if they can give him the bike, he'll be fighting for the title.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. Mark, after that fourth surgery, seems to be rejuvenated, should we say. And also, just a quick brief chat on Johan Mir and Alex Rins. They were quite positive yesterday as they're continuing their adaptation over to the Honda as well.
I mean, Alex is such a likeable guy, Rins. He's so positive.
Yeah.
It wasn't super fast or anything, but you can't really judge it testing. It's not about that.
No.
You know, you don't know how old the tyres are, what they're running through, what they're testing. It's about back-to-back checking things. And you're right, he was really positive. He was happy, you know, so long way to go until they're... I mean, no rider's really happy until they're top of the time screen, so...
Yeah.
Let's hope Alex can get there.
Yeah, well, I hope so. As you say, he was very positive yesterday, more positive than even he thought. We are actually around the Yamaha box at the minute, and there was rumour that Massimo Meregalli is around somewhere, so we'll have to keep our eyes out for him in case we do spot him, to have a chat to him. But
when you're ready, I'll go hunt him down.
Yep. All right, yeah, okay. But while we do just say about Yamaha really quickly, we'll touch again on Fabio, because it's the same kind of story as Mark, just a little bit kind of not too sure. Actually, I do believe that we're being told Mayo might be just down here. He's just walked in behind us, so hopefully we can spot Mayo, and if you want to go and grab him, then we'll see if we can get him. Okay. Here you go, you can take my microphone and go grab it.
Okay. Just bear with us for a moment. I know Mayo really well because we were both in the Superbike paddock in the mid-90s and got to know him then. And obviously have to speak to him a lot here at GPs, trying to find out at the end of every day what Yamaha are up to. Just while we're walking to his garage, what I've noticed is Yamaha yesterday had a new chassis, like I reported yesterday, had new swing arm, had new aero, and they'd really made a big effort. What I'm noticing in the garage today on Fabio's machine looks like the old bike from last year, except for aero. So it looks to me that they're just running through aero comparisons. So it'll be really interesting, because I haven't had a chance to catch up with Mayo, really interesting to see if he will tell us what they've been doing today. He's normally a pretty straight shooter. So yeah. So Fabio let us know in the debriefs last night that it was a hard day's testing yesterday. It sounded like he'd never had a bigger day testing of new parts. And you know what? I almost sensed a bit of confusion in there, meaning first day back on the bike after winter. And when you throw that amount of new equipment at you, it's hard to give really clear feedback. And here he is. He said he would be here. Thanks, Mayo. Thanks for...
No, I will give you a bill.
No, this is yours. This is yours. One especially for you. Mayo, I was just running through what we'd seen in your garage yesterday. I saw an impressive, an impressive amount of new kit. I saw swing arm, chassis, aero, a few different aero pieces, and today. You'll be able to tell me if I'm mistaken, but it looks like the old swing arm, the old chassis, and just aero on there. Can you tell us what you...
First of all, we are trying to exploit as much as possible it was just compare all the aero packages. And yeah, I really hope that we can succeed until the end of the day, because anyway, there are many, and also it's not easy to evaluate all the items, because anyway, the tire allocation is not as good as it should be.
So meaning volume of tires.
Yeah, and sometimes you have to run with a lot of lapos tire, and then you have to be really careful to evaluate any single item. But so far, I mean, we are late
on your schedule.
On our schedule. But anyway, the work that we have been able to do so far, it's not bad.
Okay, Mayo, listening to Fabio last night, it sounded to me that his first day back on the bike was one of his biggest days ever testing, and there was a little bit of maybe confusion there, or was it difficult to get a direction from yesterday, or was it clear that the new items, chassis, swing arm, weren't as good, and that's why they're not on the bike today?
No. Yesterday, first of all, also last year, his first day in Malaysia was not super fast. And we pick all the comment, but we knew. And I think the thing that probably most affect his best lap was that he only used medium tires, and he took both medium tires to the end of the life. So then when he went on the soft and he tried to push, anyway, all the references were completely different. But then he checked the data with the crew, and they explained where there were area to improve, where he made mistakes. And this morning, and I was probably switch on.
Second morning.
Yes, there was in the middle the switch.
Okay, can I put it another way, Mayo? Is testing going to plan for you? Apart from the lost morning this morning, are the items helping, like engine, chassis, swing arm, aero, are they giving you steps forward towards this championship?
Yeah, I will prefer maybe tomorrow to have another talk, because I think we have to really reevaluate all the items, because for the reason I said before,
first day.
It's not easy. When you stop and then you restart, already the tire drop a bit. So they want to really be careful before judging and to take any direction. But in the other end, I can say that at the moment the feeling are not bad.
I have to ask you before we let you go, Frankie, how's he feeling?
Frankie is doing a different job than Fabio. Yesterday he evaluated different things. I cannot enter into details.
Okay.
And also today, very soon I think he will start also working in aerodynamics. Also because we don't want to lose any other time, because the weather forecast also for tomorrow are not that good. So we need to speed up.
Okay. Mayo, I really appreciate your time in the middle of the day at such an important test. I want to wish you the best of luck, and we look forward to hearing from you at the end of the test to see how it went.
I will be ready.
Thank you. I'm going to duck back and see Jack, and we'll have a bit of a roundup of the rest of the information from the different manufacturers as we watch Alex Marquez roll in on his Ducati, and I've got to say he's looking like a happy boy. Every time I look in that garage, he's got a smile on. I think he's enjoying that bike. I mean, you can pretty much understand why, because it's completely sorted, isn't it? The amount of data that they've got on that bike, they can say to him what works, what gearing works, what electronics works, and so it's pretty much up to the rider to adapt and feedback what his preferences are, but the bike is sorted. We're talking about Alex Marquez right outside his garage. But anyway, what are we going to finish the recap on?
We can talk about Ducati, can't we, a little bit, because again it seems that there's only small tweaks here and there, and we're not really too sure exactly, but we did hear Jorge Martin say yesterday that the new engine is quite a big step better.
Yes, and you've got to remember that Jorge went from the 22 engine.
Yes.
That was a bit of a mistake, and now he's got the one that has got the power curve, that has the delivery more smooth.
Yeah.
And 12 months ago, Jorge was pretty open about the amount of wheel spin he was getting with the 22 engine. So he's gone from the worst engine, grip-wise that Ducati have put out for quite a few years to the best one. Yeah.
One person actually as well that I wanted to mention, Simon, was Franco Morbidelli, who's just gone out next to us. We are right beside the Yamaha garage just here. Franco gave a typically Franco Morbidelli interview yesterday with short answers, very to the point, but he was really, really positive about the change in mentality Yamaha had made. And he said that he feels much more motivated with this mentality than he did before.
I'm not surprised. I didn't hear Frankie's that part of Frankie's interview as we're watching Luca Marini hit out on a 22 spec Ducati in those beautiful BR46 Mooney colours. And that's another happy boy, the bike's sorted, same reason as Alex Data. So getting back to Franco Morbidelli, remember I was saying to you yesterday that Yamaha are traditionally conservative.
Yes.
And this year they are not. They're throwing everything at it.
Yeah.
And I think Frankie is pretty much, Franco Morbidelli confirmed my feeling, saying that they've got a different approach, and I hope it works for him.
Well, it's as you were saying to me last night in the car when we were leaving the circuit, that you were talking to one engineer and he said, we have to make a big step, otherwise we're going to get left behind. And Yamaha are trying to do that. They are overturning everything. So are Honda.
First raindrops.
Aprilia have. Yeah, it is just starting to rain here, actually.
We can have a quick look in the factory garage there. Factory Ducati garage. While it's starting to properly rain on us here. So I think we're going to get lots of bikes if we stay here. Lots of bikes heading back in, including this man, Bastianini.
I think Enea Bastianini is actually just coming in now. So we better watch our backs as Bastianini comes in. We can just get our cameraman to spin round, and we'll have Bastianini coming in here. This is probably seeing the raindrops on his visor, and thought, well, best not to risk it. We are only in testing here.
Yes.
So you're actually getting a good look there at the new Ducati Aero. The wings are a little bit bigger. The air intake at the front has changed. And he's also running, which is a topic that a lot of people have seen and spoke about, these different coloured wheels, aren't they? And it's all to do with heat dissipation,
yes,
as far as I understand.
As you can see, the front of the bike there, it's actually got smaller, the very front, and it's still on the very bottom. I mean, what they've been testing is the top fairing has stayed the same. The middle part with the side wing, that you can see there now, bulging side wing down by the radiator, that's pretty much stayed the same, but the belly pan area is, they've done that big, they're going between this one here with the scoop that runs down the belly pan and the other one that has a really wide belly pan, Aprilia copy. And I get the feel, well, all of the Pramac 2 riders and factory 2 riders have been back-to-backing these lower fairings and trying to decide on what they're going to run for 23.
Yeah, certainly a very tricky game, as always, the Aero game in MotoGP, and it's only getting more and more advanced as we go on year to year.
It looks like Aprilia were the first to discover that wide belly pan, and all of the manufacturers have it now.
Yeah.
All of them. And I was speaking to Aprilia earlier, and they think that everyone will go with it because it works.
Yeah, definitely. I think the only manufacturer now that doesn't have it is, as Luca Brini rolls in past us and just went out, obviously seeing those raindrops and comes back in. But as I was saying, I think the only manufacturer that doesn't have it now is Yamaha. But we have seen on the Yamaha test bikes, they've got the little downwash ducts now instead anyway. So then as we're coming down to the end of pit lane,
so Aprilia,
there's a few fans cheering for Miguel Oliveira over there. Miguel's just out here assessing the conditions, I believe.
And Raul Fernandez out here as well. Raul sounded pretty happy. He sounded pretty happy last night.
He certainly did.
After his first day back on the bike, he said he enjoyed it, which he kind of let slip that it's the first time since 21 that he's enjoyed riding a motorbike.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Miguel Oliveira also had mentioned he enjoyed it, but I mentioned again that just how big a change it is coming from the KTM to the Aprilia, and still needs that more time to adapt.
He's a nice fella, Miguel. I had a good chat with him this morning, and it was mostly about dogs. So, yeah.
So then, we are at the end of the pit lane here. The RNF boys are the last garage in the pit lane here in Sepang. So we'll wrap this one up then. Thank you very much for tuning in to this little midday live. A reminder again that at 5:30 local time tonight, after the flag show hosted by Lewis Sotheby and Neil Morrison, will be back on. Simon will be, as ever, bringing all the tech updates from down in pit lane that we see this afternoon. Hopefully we do get some track action this afternoon. This rain is only a few drops for now. Also a reminder that if you want to watch After the Flag this afternoon, you're not signed up on MotoGP.com. There is a free trial at the moment on MotoGP.com, and that will take you until the end of the Portimao test. So you'll see all the pre-season testing. It's well worth doing it. Full 90-minute After the Flag show tonight and tomorrow. Well worth doing. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll speak to you later.